Hello guys, welcome back to Owl003. Best RV you're ever going to see is right here. So today, I want to talk to you about whiteboard and integrating it into your methodology, whatever that is, whatever it happens to be. My remote viewing is primarily based out of CRV. I'm going to explain how to integrate it to whatever method you're using, and then also the advantages of it, which is huge. Okay. So I don't care what method you're using. Okay. In essence, okay, just for model's sake here, signal comes in. You're getting all this data. Um, so when you're remote viewing, everything kind of comes at you like a smattering of impressions. Okay. Um, so it's not like you're sitting in a movie theater watching everything play out in order. It's not like that. It's not experienced like that usually. Okay, so what ends up happening is you'll have all these different impressions. You may have like airplanes or structures, a city-like environment. You may have foliage, trees. You'll have feelings like of people at the target. Maybe you'll have broken-hearted feelings. You'll have people at the target. You may find impressions of water at the target. All right. So you get all these smattering of impressions. Okay, and I've seen it doesn't really matter. Other methodologies, it's pretty. I mean, the end result is about the same. Okay, um, and then you compile this data into a summary and you send it in. Typically, that's usually how it's done. That's how it's been done in the past. Now, when you go to whiteboard, okay, especially in the beginning, you usually I'll take my session up to the board with me, even though I don't really use it. It's kind of like a safety net if things kind of dry up or whatever. But what I find is, first of all, when you're doing a session, this is your window into the ether. Okay, in essence, all right. Look how small it is. Okay, so in a very generalized sense, if you're looking out a window, which window do you think you're gonna see more out of, perceive more out of? Okay, this board is 15 times the size, roughly, of a sheet of paper. All right, so the paper is very valuable. I never come up here and just start a session, never, uh, because I would be robbing myself of all the tools that I have on paper, kinesthetic tools, even just the regular, just your regular kind of repertoire. So at this point, on a big event type target, now not every target requires this, okay? But when you have an event that's got a lot of data points, what will often happen in sessions on paper is a viewer will give you a bunch of data that's valuable to the tasking, and then you ask them, well, what did you think the target was? And like, I have no idea. Okay, because to them, in essence, it's just a smattering of impressions. Okay, there's not necessarily a story format behind it. Okay, and not every target has one. Again, if the target is just a building or something, um, there's not like a story to tell. But if it's an event of some sort, there is. Okay, so what'll happen is I'll work on paper a session. I'll if it's an event of some kind, I'll go in a couple times maybe. I'll do it to the point where I've gotten everything I could squeeze out on paper. Okay. Then I come up to the whiteboard, and at this point, the subconscious, you've filled up that space. You've been back there a couple times. You've got a bookmark into the target. You're there, um, and now so the detecting phase, at least the baseline detecting phase, is kind of done. So after you have a summary on paper, there's still going to be questions. There's probably going to be questions in your mind that you still want to flush out. All right. So what'll happen is you take what you go to whiteboard, and your subconscious knows this is your last stage, in essence, of the target. All right. You've done all your compiling. You've done all your collecting. Now what you're basically asking your subconscious mind to do is tell the story on the whiteboard. Okay, just tell the story. You've done the detect. Now put it in pieces so that I can understand what's happening as a viewer. Okay, so I'll go through the ideogram, and then boom. At this point, I will either automatically start sketching what I call the first frame, frame one, because now you're dealing in a frame by frame setting. Okay, now you're telling your subconscious, like, instead of just this smattering, give me the first picture, or give me the first image of what's happening here, and your subconscious will comply. It'll basically give you the beginning of the story. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you can put that together as a viewer. And that's the one thing I really I felt was lacking in the methodology, in all of them, really. But so that's what makes whiteboard, very helpful. Now, again, you should have paper, all right, already done on this. So this is kind of going the extra mile for sure, but it absolutely, positively is beneficial. It absolutely will open up the target more. And if you come in a project with me and you're not adding this, I'm going to bury you in data. I don't care what you're using. If you want to stay competitive, there's a lot of reasons. For one, you open it all the way up. This tool allows you to basically, if you have the steam in you, to get it done, it will allow you to open the target up completely. Get all the details you need, and not just pieces. Okay. So it's extremely beneficial. I just did a target on something. It's some of the best work I've ever done. And as far as I know, anybody. But I used this, and I really got a lot out of it to do it. So I don't care what you're using. If you're using HRVG, CRV, blah blah blah, TRV, especially TRV, because I just did a discussion with a couple of guys, and I was being kind of nice because they were like one of them was a endorsed TRV instructor, but I'm not impressed with TRV. I mean, it works, but it's the least impressive, and people that do this a lot most people would probably agree. But anyway, so, but if you want to stay competitive with the likes of me and you're not using this, you're not competitive. Okay, you're not playing at this level, and you're never gonna, unless you incorporate this in a written protocol. So it's extremely useful, and anybody could do this. Okay, you just have to have the confidence to come up here and do this. It's also very valuable for people to see you work in real time. If you want to work at the highest level, I would suggest you incorporate this. It's going to allow you to, it kind of allows the target to just kind of relent to where you can just get anything you need out of it. I look at the paper at this point on an event target as more like working notes, okay? Because what will happen is what ends up happening is I'll write my summary, but what I end up pulling out in here is far more cohesive as a summary. Just walking this path, going through the story on the whiteboard. So it's a huge advantage, guys. Huge advantage. So if you are like dead set on sticking to paper, you know what I mean? Like if you like just paper alone, you're gonna be left in the dust. I promise you. And you won't be competitive. Not really. You may talk a lot of stuff, but when you put product to product, you will be buried. And again, it doesn't really matter what you use. But actually, Birdie used like the big paper and stuff, so it's probably For whatever reason, she likes it too. I'm sure she has her own reasons behind it. But as far as how I do things, this is the way to go. Again, you could add this to any repertoire that you're using, any protocol. Um, and what'll happen often too is I'll come up here and I may not have the first frame. I may sketch something I've never sketched. Okay, your subconscious just is okay. I'm frame one. Whoop, it's a whole new environment. You just lean into it because if everything went right, you're already at a deep stage into the target. In essence, you never closed it out until you're done with this. So I'll do my ideogram, and I'll start going through the impressions in my mind. I'm already kind of in a stage 3, a stage 4. So I can do my ideogram, pick up the base components, and then go straight into sketching. Okay. And again, I never do this before I do paper. I always do typically a couple paper sessions. I'll just poke in, and then I'll do a summary. And again, I'm not trying to rub this into people. This is common sense. Okay. I told my old instructor a long time, you better incorporate this because otherwise you're not competing. And if you think you are, you're lying to yourself. Sorry. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the content. Please buy me a coffee if you want to support what I'm doing. If you need remote viewing instruction, let me know. All the instructions are in the link. And we'll catch you next time, guys, in Al 003.